What is up? What is up? What is up? I am Jack, and we are Sim Racing. Now, this entire video, I think, has been flipped on its head a little bit. As Michael Scott would say, oh, how the turntables. Last night I spent about an hour, almost an hour and a half. I said I was only going to play for 45 minutes. I spent about an hour and a half playing Assetto Corsa Evoluzione. Not Assetto Corsa Evo that is coming out in 2025, but who needs AC Evo when we got Evoluzione? This is a mod. I'm just kidding, by the way. Everybody's excited for Assetto Corsa Evo, but this is a mod, a career mode mod, because I wanted to compare AMS2, AC1 in the best light possible for these two sims. I wanted to give both of them the best chance they have in this competition. And for that, I needed to give what I believe to be the best single player mode for each of these. I had not actually played AC Evoluzione, this mod that basically turns Assetto Corsa into like a Gran Turismo type career mode. I had not played this up to this point, and honestly, I am so sad now that I had not played this. It is so much fun. I spent about an hour and a half last night playing it. This video is not going to release until maybe later this weekend, so that gives me like 3 or 4 more days to play Evoluzione mod, to play this mod. So I'm going to be doing that for the next few days. But I was believing that AMS2 was going to walk away with this because the AI is not as good in AC1 and a variety of other reasons. AMS2 I thought was going to walk away with this as a single player experience, but my experience last night kind of flips this competition on its head. I'm going to show you an app, a third-party app that creates a career mode for AMS2 called Racing Life. This is an app I have spent a ton of time in already previously before even recording this video. And so we're going to walk through Racing Life. We're going to walk through Assetto Corsa Evoluzione, and then I'm going to show you some footage from some races. We're going to have our conclusion, and we are going to decide who makes it to the final round of Jack Crater's search for the best single player experience in all of sim racing. So thank you so much for watching. I said this in the last video. I really appreciate all the people following along. I hope you're enjoying these videos. I'm really having fun making these videos. I hope that comes across when you're watching this video as how much fun I'm having making these videos. This is something new for me. But yeah, just spending the time creating, editing, and playing these games. Yeah, like I said, super fun for me. If you're enjoying it, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I would really appreciate it. So thanks for watching. Let's dive into AC Evo. It's not AC Evo, AC Evoluzione, and then AMS2, then conclusion. Let's do it. All right, we have started it up. Assetto Corsa Evoluzione, the real career experience. I'm hyped about this. I love career modes. I love them, and sim racing is desperately lacking them. I mean, this also looks really good. This looks like we're in a game. Alright, let's click beginner events and just see what happens. Looks like Laguna Seca. Yes. So these videos are so cool. The work put into this, it's outstanding. And I haven't even driven a car on track. I can just already tell this was like someone's pride project. Okay, front wheel drive challenge. Yeah, this is very Gran Turismo-y. This is so cool. I love it. Okay. Let's go with the Oh, Nissan, what do we have? Okay. Let's go with the Indy Miata. It's base content. It's dope. Let's go. Let's get it. Oh, I forgot to move my mouse. Alright. Ah, we got a Toyota G86 there. Okay, so we got more of a mix of cars here by allowing cars of higher power point, PP, performance points, whatever they are. I like just saying PP. Let's see how the AI handles this less traditional track. Couple of our fellow MX-5ers in front of us. Mazda boys. Yeah, I'm all about this. This is cool. Oh, we used every inch of that track. Oh yeah, let's go. Let's go. This is great. We've got a Beamer in front of us, sandwiched between two other MX-5s. I don't know if the AI is going to do much battling with each other. The field is very spread out. Where are you going, bro? Well, this comparison has gotten interesting with how fun this experience is. AMS2, you might be in trouble. I feel like it'll be a success if I finish first among the MX-5s. Let's try not to be... Some of your flesh wound. And then because we're allowing in a lot of different cars, even some that are of different power levels, We get that interesting old vintage car joining this race. It'd be cool if you could filter out like, oh, this race is only going to have JDM cars, or this race is only going to have American muscle cars, or whatever. Like, I feel like that car 2 cars in front of us, this doesn't seem to belong in this race. Even the BMW is a little bit questionable, but I can kind of vibe with that. Oh, yes sir, MX-5. Love driving this car. I cannot believe it has taken me this long to discover this mod. I had seen videos of it in the past. You could not slide a piece of paper between my door and the wall there. Big sin, big sin, big sin. Drag race. Oh, we're not gonna get him. Even that, just a 3-lap race. So good. Oh, that was fun. Is it the best AI? No. Is it the perfect sim racing experience? No. But man, that was fun. This mod changes AC1 in a way that I was not expecting. And if you want to know how fun this is, it is way past my bedtime. I said that I was going to play for 45 minutes, and I am at like what, an hour and 15. Yeah. Let's put in our race results. Gosh, I have a big smile on my face. And that was fun. This is very fun. And if you have AC1 and you're looking to make it a better single player experience, you've got to download this. AMS2, you might be in trouble for this comparison video. You might be in trouble. Alright, let me show you what we got here in AMS2's Racing Life. So this is a really cool third-party app that was created. There's also a version of this for Race Room that I think I played the Race Room version first, maybe. I can't remember. But here's what you do. You have your home page right here. You have your fame. That is your prestige, your fame, how famous you are as a driver, your money. Backstory is basically a choice you can make with how much fame and money that you start with. Statistics, races that you've done, really, really cool stuff. You can see every race that I've done in this, and you can see that I have spent a good amount of time playing this. I had a video series for a while where I was going through and playing, I was streaming all these races and then editing them down into videos and putting them on YouTube. So if you want to go and check out some of my races from the past in Racing Life, you can absolutely do that. Now, here is some more of the cool stuff. Similar to Evoluzione that I was playing last night, we have a car dealer where you can buy different cars. These are all different racing series that are represented in AMS2. And typically, when there's an AMS2 update, like we just had the big one, the guys who developed this typically update the game to reflect the new racing classes that are added. Your garage, competition. This is where you choose which competitions you want to race in. You have to have a certain level of fame to be able to race in some competitions. So, for example, let's find one that has a lot of prestige. Okay, this Group C at the Nordschleife race, you have to have 40 driver fame to get into it. Those typically yield larger payouts. And then at the end of the year, it will come up with a new schedule. The tracks are so basically when you decide on a series, which I've done, I have decided on the Mitsubishi Lancer World Challenge. You choose your series, you get your car, okay, and you can find out more. Well, that pulls up another tab. If you click that, you can't see it on your screen right now, but it takes you to a website called Cars of AMS2. And it shows you details about that car, which is kind of fun. Okay, so let's say I chose the Mitsubishi World Challenge. I click on it. Now it's a 3-race series, competition, popularity, fame, all that stuff, registration fee, all that good stuff. And you click setup, and it shows you the 3 tracks that you'll be racing at in this series. Now, and then we have this other fun thing that is import AI rosters. So if you click on that button, which I think I've already done for this series, I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead and do it. It says custom AI rosters imported, please restart AMS2. So I'm going to do that. This is a teeny tiny complaint. My one complaint with Racing Life is a lot of times the tracks that are selected don't make a ton of sense. For example, you could choose like the F1 series. So they have a lot of real life racing series. You might choose to race in IMSA, and there will be mostly American tracks. It'll be like 3 or 4 American tracks, and then there will be a random Brazilian track or Argentinian track or a random track in England. That it doesn't really fit the rest of the series, and it doesn't make a ton of sense. Or tracks that the cars just don't work at, like an F1 race at a track that is like no longer safe for F1. So that's something that is a tiny, tiny complaint. There is an easy solution for that, and the easy solution for that is when you go to set up your series, you just change it yourself. Alright, here we are. AMS2. We are 7th overall, last among the RS cars in the Lancer Cup, and we're entering our 3rd race. And let me explain why we are 7th overall. We are 7th overall because I had been driving this car in the first 2 races and spun out 2 or 3 times. And I finally realized, like a big old dum-dum, that this car was not auto-blipping. So this car doesn't have auto-blip. I need to be rev matching on my downshifts. And since I was doing that, problem solved. So, a little bit silly that I didn't realize that earlier. But here we are. So, I'm going to be doing the final race of this series. We're going to be starting, second to last for this final race of the series amongst the slower cars. Okay, let's get it. Look what we got. Look what we got. We got rain. Again, using that real life weather data. It ends up raining for this race. I don't know how many laps we're running. Not that many, that's for sure. 10-minute race. So we got wets on, wet tires on. Let's go. Let's turn that TC up for wipers on, please.
2 wide, right side.
Great start.
You've got 1 left and 1 right. On the left side.
Let's work through these slower cars. We definitely need to be blipping the throttle here.
He's still there. Left side.
And I'm not 100% sure. So one thing that I talked about previously is that you can adjust now in AMS2 the AI's ability in the rain.
Clear.
And I have it on. Oopsies. I have it that I slowed them down just a tiny bit in the rain. That was terrible. I mean, I just barged that guy. That was so horrible.
Still there.
I slowed the AI down just a tiny bit in the rain. They're on like 0.97 of their dry ability. And the reason I did that was before the last update, I was getting killed by the AI in rain races.
Left side.
I'm not sure if that setting is as it should be. I guess we'll see throughout this race. And these are interesting cars for a rain race, all-wheel drive.
Okay, clear. You're good. He's 2 lengths back.
Okay, we got past the slow cars. Now we're up with the cars that are similar to us. So let's talk quickly about Racing Life and AMS2. So why this is such a fun combo. Racing Life gives you a reason for these races. You're running a single player custom championship, but it's not as simple as just me creating a championship that interests me and me driving in that championship. You're gaining fame, you're gaining money, you're working your way up to race in more exciting series in the future. For example, if I want to run the 24-hour of Le Mans, well, I got to earn my way there. I can't just load up the WEC calendar and run it from the very beginning. I gotta work my way up to the WEC or IMSA or whatever it is. And the series that are more popular end up gaining you a lot more fame, even if you don't finish first. Like if I finish first in the Lancer Cup, I might get a little bit of fame, but if I finish 5th in IMSA, I'm gonna get more fame. But just look at the immersion of this wet weather race. I'm gonna maybe put in a clip of AC and the wet weather, because there was a moment, and I probably don't have my settings all correct in Content Manager, but I mean, I've tried to get my settings correct.
On your left.
And
Still there.
the AC wet weather just is nothing like this. This is so good. So why AMS2 and Racing Life make up such a fun combo? This dynamic weather also has a little bit to do with it. The fact that Racing Life gives you a racing calendar, and it gives you a month that all the races should happen in. So what I do is I choose a random weekend within that month, and I put the race on there, and I use the real life weather data from that weekend. And how immersive is this? Like, I didn't select for this to be a rainy race. I just selected real weather from whatever date this race is supposed to be taking place. And I'm getting the real weather from that date. Very, very fun. Something you can't really do in a lot of other sims, and it just adds to the immersion. And then also the custom AI. Certain drivers drive better in the rain than other drivers. And the reason for that is because there's a custom AI file for each driver that can be edited. I just imported it from the Racing Life app, but those custom AI files, you can adjust a driver's ability in the dry, you can just adjust a driver's ability in the wet, you can adjust how well they do at quali, so you could have a driver that's really good at qualifying but not very good at the race, or vice versa. Gosh, is this not so epic? Once I figured out that this car has to be auto, or it has to be
Watch left.
heel toe downshifted, it's a game changer.
Still on your left.
I might not need to hit the clutch necessarily, but
Still there.
it's felt like it's kept the car more stable. But I definitely have to blip the throttle for sure. Oh, late on the brakes there. We're okay, we're okay.
All clear.
A lot of aero damage on the front,
Got one on your left.
but we're gonna keep going.
You good. All clear.
Wow.
One length behind.
And the AI is handling the rain well. I do think I need to bump their ability back up just a bit in the rain. So it's going to take a little bit of time for me to get that locked in. What I probably need to do is I probably need to run a dry race, see how my lap times compare with the AI, then run a wet race immediately after, and see how my lap times compare to the AI, and then I can adjust that wet weather slider from there.
Careful. He's looking. On the right side.
And then the foliage, it's cool that like we're racing
Still
a
there.
race in the fall and the entire environment looks like it. I mean, AMS2 just does so much in the way of immersion. And when you combine that with Racing Life to give you kind of a guided career mode, it's awesome. My only negatives on Racing Life are the track selection can be goofy. For example, this racing series had 2 Brazilian tracks and then a British track. That can be fixed by me literally just saying, that's weird, I'm going to select a different track instead, and when I create my custom championship, I could have done a 3rd Brazilian track. We're just searching for their brake lights to know where they are. So that part's a little bit goofy, and then the fact that you're constantly having to click Alt-Tab to exit out of AMS2 and go into Racing Life to submit your race results. That can be a little bit burdensome, a little bit clunky as far as the experience goes, but oh my gosh, visibility. But I mean, those are some small complaints considering what Racing Life does bring to the table. If you are interested in watching more Racing Life, I did start when the 1.5 update came out. Maybe it was 1.53. That was one of the updates that had a pretty good positive change for the physics of AMS2. Not quite as big as 1.6, but I started doing the Racing Life career mode, and I posted a bunch of those videos on YouTube. So if you search on my YouTube channel, you can find, I did like the Copo Uno, I did some semi-truck racing, so the entire beginning of this Racing Life career mode has been captured on my YouTube channel if you are interested in watching more about Racing Life. So pretty cool. Is it enough to beat the fun that I had in AC Evoluzione last night? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see in the conclusion section. I will say this this type of stuff right here, AI race in the rain. This right here is AMS2 at its best. What you are watching right now in my opinion, visually, the AI, all of this experience that you're watching with the rain and the weather, the dynamic track, this is this matched in sim racing? Post in the comments if you think there's a racing sim that can match this. I mean, how cool is this race right now? Oh, we got a car off to the left. It's interesting we didn't get a yellow flag there, because sometimes when a car gets stuck in AMS2, you get either like double yellow, or you can even get a safety car, or a virtual safety car. I think this is going to be the last lap. If we can pass this Bumblebee car right here, I will be happy and excited. And going back to those custom AI files, this white and red car at the front, that driver's AI driver file, clearly has him as the most talented driver in this racing series. And I think that's fun. I think it's fun to see, like, you know, I think it's weird when you have custom championships and a guy finishes first in one race and then finishes last place in the next race. It makes no sense, and it makes a lot more sense when there's a driver that's just good and he's at the front of the field in almost every race. So I do really enjoy those custom AI files. I know some other sims have that as well. I think with the driver's ability in wet, or driver's quality ability and stuff like that, it kind of takes it to another level. Talent files, I think, are what they are called in AMS1, because they have the same concept in AMS1. That car still stopped. I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised we didn't get a safety car there. Or maybe I turned the safety car off for this series. I don't think we're going to catch this P2. But that was a fun race. Short race, quick race. But goodness gracious. AMS2. This wet weather. The quality of the AI. How they battle with one another at different parts of the race, how they defend. Wow. AMS2. So good. So good. Let's get to the conclusion. This is going to be tough. I had so much fun in AC Evoluzione. I had so much fun. I've had so much fun in all my time using Racing Life to drive AMS2's career mode. It's going to be tough. Conclusion time. Alright, it is time to wrap up this video. Let's dive straight into it. This video was so fun to make because both of these single players experiences are already really good, and then being able to add these mods on top of it just made it so cool. So we're going to break this down with the pros cons list for, first off, just the single player driving experience, and then secondly, the experience with the mods. Okay, so pros and cons. AC1, just the driving experience in AC1 as a single player game. So limitless content, that is a huge pro for AC1. I mean, enough said, right? you can download any car you can imagine, download any track you can imagine. Decent AI. Now with Content Manager, if you've downloaded all the latest updates and everything, you can get improved AI downloaded, and that improved AI is decent. I'm not going to say it's perfect. It still does some weird stuff, and it's still inconsistent from track to track. And I've still had races where there's a few cars that don't even start the race, they just stand on the start finish line. So it's not perfect, but it is decent AI. Very good physics. AC1, the driving physics and the driving feel, I mean, we all know this at this point. The force feedback feels great. Some of the cons for the AC1 single player driving experience: no multiclass. It hurts me, it pains me that the AI doesn't know how to handle multiclass, and multiclass is not properly scored in Assetto Corsa 1. And the weather is not perfect. I did a rain race. While I was doing this testing, and it just felt like, and I've done many rain races in AC1, and it always feels to me just like the track grip level is reduced, and that's it. And we obviously get the rain effect on the windshield and things like that, but it doesn't feel on the same level as some of the other sims that have rain in it. It doesn't feel like the track grip is different in different parts of the track. Um, yeah, it does. You can't really feel puddles and things like that. It just feels like the track grip went from, let's say, 95% down to like 50%. That's really all it feels like to me, personally. Now, AMS2, some of the pros, great content. Not limitless content, but the content that is in AMS2 is really, really good. And even the mods, if you're downloading them from like Thunder Flash and things like that, where they're ported over from Project Cars 2, that content is really good as well, especially since they brought some of that cool content up to the 1.6 physics level. It's really, really fun. Great AI multiclass, or great AI just in general, not just multiclass, but great AI that battles with you, that battles with each other. It doesn't feel super robotic when you're doing an AI race. And multi-class as well. The AI knows how to handle multi-class racing, which is really, really exciting, really immersive. I love that. Um, Improved physics. So 1.6, it's not as amazing. It's not like 100% perfect, right? It's not the most flawless physics ever, but there's no weird quirks about it. In all the past updates of AMS2, even the 1.53 update that I think was like one of the really, really big improvements, even with that, there was still just a little bit of quirkiness that would happen sometimes with car physics and driving physics. It's to the point where it doesn't feel weird. It doesn't feel it makes sense. The physics, the car feel all makes sense, and the force feedback is really, really good. I think the physics are at a really great place with AMS2. Another thing that a lot of people might not realize is with AMS2 you have like full flag rules, like yellow flags, blue flags, and all that stuff, as well as safety cars. Just the overall experience of a race, it feels like a real race. Especially when you have those moments where a car crashes and it takes a lap or two before it gets picked up by the tow truck, and you have the safety car guiding everybody around. It feels super, super immersive. It feels like the race, rather than like ACC, AC1, any of these other sim, honestly, almost every other sim, where a car crashes and then it just gets teleported to the pits, and there's no delay or anything with the race. I love how immersive it feels when the safety car comes out and you have a couple laps behind the safety car, and you see the car off on the side getting towed away. It's really not towed away, but you see the car still there, which is really, really cool. Um, Cons. It was tough to think of cons for AMS2 single player driving experience. The only ones I could come up with were I don't think traction control and ABS is done super well in AMS2. Um, Traction control activates really, really easily, even if you're on TC1 for most cars. And yeah, it just ABS and traction control. I don't think they have nailed down perfectly. And then this is just a personal one. I wish there was more front wheel drive like TCR cars, touring cars. There was a really fun class called, I think it was Copa Petrobus or something like that in AMS1, and I think AMS2 is just missing front wheel drive touring cars. We have the Mini car, and that's it. And I just wish there was more of that. So maybe like, yeah, the TCR cars or something. Just a personal preference. Might not bother a lot of people. Now, we need to talk about Assetto Corsa Evoluzione, not Assetto Corsa Evo, and we need to talk about Racing Life and what these add to the game. AC Evo. It gives you a GT style experience. Feels very nostalgic. It feels very much like the old days of playing Gran Turismo or Forza or those games. Similar progression. The menu even looks very, very Gran Turismo-esque. It's really cool. Another positive is the app runs like its own game. You load it up as its own application, and you almost don't even interact with Content Manager anymore. You just open up Assetto Corsa Evo, you click that you're ready for your race, and then it pulls up the race in AC, but it feels like you're in one app. You're not alt tabbing, you're not leaving the window that you're in. So it's a smooth, seamless experience, and that way, that makes it feel like it's a whole brand new game, which is really cool. It's like it's just a new game that uses Assetto Corsa physics. That's what it feels like. It integrates all of your AC content, which is really, really cool. So it has content that it recommends that you can download, but you can even have other AC content that you have, cars that you've already downloaded, that the game uses. And it takes almost no effort to get a race running. Like, there's a few settings to adjust, but very, very seamless, very easy to get running, very simple, but very fun. And I wish I had even more time this week to dive into, like, there were some ways that you could modify some of the cars. There were some ways that you could, figuring out what the maintenance on the cars was and all that stuff, special events. Some of the cons. Car selection won't always make sense. So, for example, I was doing that race in Japan. Most of the cars were Japanese, but then there was like this random like 1960s car that didn't really fit. So cars won't always make sense in the race, but yeah, that's like a pretty small picky thing. And then it's not necessarily realistic, right? Like, it's not the type of immersive career that's super, super serious and sim racy, where you're simulating a real life racing driver's career. No, this is a lot more laid back. It's a lot more fun. And it's not meant to be quite as serious or realistic. So that could be seen as a con or a pro, depending on who you are. All right, Racing Life. It has a very Project Cars 2 career progression style, where it almost feels like you're moving. I mean, you are literally moving up from racing series to racing series. It takes it a step further than Project Cars 2 and Project Cars 1 did, by allowing you to sign contracts with team, buying cars, getting sponsors, and doing all that stuff. Racing Life has all of that integrated in it, which is really, really fun, really, really cool. The money system in the fame system, I also think is really cool. The way that that's integrated. So it's not as, like, I always thought it was a little bit simplistic that in Project Cars 2 it was just like finish in the top 3 of the standings, and then you can move on. I like how it's kind of more based on the prestige of the series you're racing in, and it's not all about just finishing first in every single race, even though that is your goal, obviously. That's always your goal racing, isn't it? Now, it's also very easy to set up and very easy to follow along, and it all just makes sense. Racing Life is a really, really great app, but there are some cons that we got to be realistic about. Alt tab. You are constantly you finish qualifying, you have to alt tab, put in the qualifying results. Then you finish your race, alt tab, put in your race results. You're constantly exiting one window and going back in. So you're exiting the game window, going into Racing Life window, then exiting Racing Life window, going back into the game window. That back and forth kind of pulls you out of it feeling like one seamless experience. That's a small thing. It's not huge. It's not a huge issue, and even if you have like multiple monitors, you could have maybe Racing Life pulled up on a different monitor. But just something to be aware of. And then sometimes it has some weird tracks. Like the series that I was racing in for the video was the Lancer Cup, which in real life is a Brazilian series. It was 3 tracks for that racing series. 2 of them were in Brazil, and 1 of them was in England. I think it was Brands Hatch. So it just was kind of one of those weird things. Like in real life, this low budget racing series would not, go all the way across the Atlantic Ocean to do one single race in England. It doesn't really make any sense. That can be remedied by the fact that you can just plug in a different race and just ignore what Racing Life is saying. But again, that starts to pull you out of the immersion, out of the seamless experience type of thing. Setup time. Since unlike Assetto Corsa Evoluzione, these series are not set up for you in game. You have to take the information that Racing Life gives you. You have to, again, alt tab over to AMS2, and you have to then go in and type everything in. You have to set the length of the races. You have to set the rules of the racing series and all that stuff in AMS2. So that part also takes some time, like getting and then like some of the racing series, like the one I was doing, is only 3 races. So it's like boom, boom, 1, 2, 3 races, and then all of a sudden now you're taking 10, 20, 30 minutes to set up another series. So that part, I don't love how clunky that feels sometimes. But it does give you the freedom to adjust things when they don't make sense. Like when you're running an IMSA race and all of a sudden there's one race in Brazil and you don't want to do that. So instead you plug in another USA track to make the series make more sense. Plugging it in yourself fixes that. Whereas that's not really possible in Assetto Corsa Evoluzione. So that brings us to our conclusion. Now, this is so difficult because driving experience, pure driving experience with the AI, I want to be clear about that. I don't mean driving experience alone on track. I mean driving experience with the AI as a racing sim. I strongly put AMS2 over AC1 because of AI behavior. It's just better, and the overall experience of a race feels way better. But AC Evoluzione versus Racing Life, AC Evoluzione takes Assetto Corsa to a level that it was not at before. If you have not played, I cannot stress this enough, if you have not played this mod for Assetto Corsa, you have to download it and you have to play it. It is so good. So good. But in conclusion, so as a full-on single-player experience, I think that Assetto Corsa Evoluzione is really, really cool, and it is super, super interesting what they're doing, making a Gran Turismo style game with sim racing physics. But I still believe, because of the racing experience because of the AI behavior, because of the weather data, all of that stuff, and the ability to make custom championships, and they just work every single time, and you don't have to go through all the hoops that you do with Assetto Corsa 1. AMS2, I still believe, even though AC Evoluzione was super, super dope, AMS2 is still a better overall single player experience. And that puts it as our first game in the finals. It's going to be matched up either between GTR2, an old endurance racer that provided me with the best single race I have ever played against the AI, or Le Mans Ultimate, which is really, really good, has incredible AI. So for this GTR2 and Le Mans Ultimate, I'm probably going to be doing a really long race for both of those and recording and comparing. So get excited for that. But AMS2, congratulations, Riza. You have made it to the finals of the prestigious Jack Crater's quest for the single best single player racing experience in all of sim racing. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I know this was a long video, and I really, really appreciate those of you that watched it, and I hope you got some enjoyment out of it. I'm really excited to continue this, to see, we're in the AMS2's in the finals, so let's see if GTR2 or Le Mans Ultimate, one of those two, can knock it off. Yeah, let's see. All right, till next week. Peace.